Why is a 35-year-old murder case about the Menendez brothers suddenly all over social media? The real story here isn't just about what Lyle and Eric Menendez did on that horrific night in August 1989. It's about how we, the public, have tried them twice, 30 years apart, and reached two completely different verdicts. First, you have to understand the 90s. The Menendez trial was a landmark moment for the brand new cable network Court TV. For the first time, a real-life murder trial was beamed directly into living rooms, becoming a national obsession. It had all the elements of a primetime soap opera: immense wealth, a gruesome crime in Beverly Hills, and two handsome, mysterious young men. The prosecution gave the public a simple, powerful story. Lyle and Eric were vicious, spoiled brats who grew tired of waiting for their $14 million inheritance and executed their parents in cold blood. This narrative of greed was easy to digest, and it fit perfectly into the tough-on-crime attitude of the era. Then the defense dropped a bombshell. They didn't deny the brothers pulled the triggers. Instead, they argued it was a tragic case of self-defense, the culmination of a lifetime of horrific sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. This was a revolutionary strategy. It effectively put the dead parents on trial and forced a national conversation about male sexual abuse at a time when society was simply not ready for it. The result of that first televised trial? Two deadlocked juries. The jurors were reportedly split right down gender lines, with many women more open to the abuse claims and voting for manslaughter, while many men held out for a murder conviction. It was a snapshot of a culture in conflict, unable to reconcile the image of a victim with the image of a brutal killer. The system saw this deadlock as a failure, a travesty, so for the second trial, in 1995, the rules changed. Judge Stanley Weisberg banned cameras from the courtroom. He severely restricted the defense's ability to talk about the history of abuse, calling it an abuse excuse. With no tearful testimony broadcast to the nation and the core of their defense strategy gutted, the brothers were quickly convicted and sentenced to life without parole. The system wanted a clear villain, and this time, it got one. For decades, that was the end of the story. The Menendez brothers faded into memory, becoming little more than a 90s pop culture punchline. Then came the true crime renaissance. Netflix dropped its series Monsters, and a new generation discovered the case. But this time, the conversation wasn't happening on cable TV. It was exploding on social media, especially TikTok. And this is the crucial difference. Gen Z did more than just passively watch. Armed with a post-Me Too understanding of trauma, they became digital detectives. Thousands of users, calling themselves Menendez defenders, dissected old trial footage, challenged the prosecution's narrative, and built a massive grassroots movement demanding a second look. This online wave, amplified by high-profile supporters like Kim Kardashian, had real-world consequences. It created immense pressure and coincided with the discovery of new evidence: a letter from Eric detailing the abuse before the murders, and testimony from a former member of the boy band Menudo who also accused Jose Menendez of sexual assault. This perfect storm of public pressure and new information led to the LA DA's office to support re-sentencing the brothers, giving them their first real hope of freedom in over 30 years. After all the online advocacy, the resentencing, and the global media attention, Lyle and Eric Menendez finally got their parole hearings in August of 2025, and the board said no. But the reasons they said no are what's so fascinating. The parole commissioners didn't focus on the 1991 murders. They focused on the brothers' behavior in prison. For Eric, they cited a history of misconduct, including unauthorized phone use, contraband, violence, and even gang activity. For Lyle, the board pointed to his pattern of deception, minimization, and rule-breaking. One commissioner bluntly told Eric, "Contrary to your supporters' beliefs, you have not been a model prisoner." The family was devastated, with Eric's wife calling the hearing a setup. It was a stunning clash between two different worlds. The court of public opinion, shaped by a modern understanding of trauma, was ready to see them as rehabilitated. But the rigid, bureaucratic parole system looked at their institutional records and saw inmates who still posed an unreasonable risk to public safety. So what does all this mean? The Menendez case is a cultural mirror. In the 90s, it reflected a society that wanted simple narratives and was deeply uncomfortable with the complexities of abuse. Today, it reflects a generation that is using new media to challenge old verdicts and force a re-examination of the past. But that final chapter, the parole denial, is a reality check. It shows that while a TikTok movement can reopen a case, it doesn't decide it. The justice system is a massive, slow-moving institution that operates on its own set of rules, often insulated from the court of public opinion.